Okay. You didn't tell me, so I didn't know. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bhagavad Gita class evening, and beginning with some kirtan. So, wished I could hear you all joining in, but I'm sure you are anyway. Very good.
Shishima, Jagakuru, Siddhaswarupananda, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa, Parivrajagasantara, Sadashishimad, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Gauda Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi Gaur Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Nitai Kolas World Mission Ki Jai. Navadi Dhamma Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Guru Gopi Shamakun Arakun Ki Govardhani Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Shrimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. All glories to some of the devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to some of the devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to some of the devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga, Gaura Premanandi, Hare Hare. Omagina Timarandasya, Gina Gina Salakaya, Chaksurun Militan Yena, Tajmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam, Stapitam Yena Bhutale, Swayam Rupa Karamayam, Dati Swadantikam, Vandeham Shri Guru, Shri Parakalam, Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha, Shri Rupam Sakrijatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajeevam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Scha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapati Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostuti Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhani Sutadevi Pranamami Haripi Vanshakapa Durubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaivacha Patitanam Bhavaindiyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur-Bhakta-Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutaya Shrimate Saraswarupananda Paramahansa Niti Namini. Namo Saraswarupananda Paramahansa Namini. Gaura Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prastayate. For speaking, first I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of the spiritual master, Jagakuru Siddhaswarupananda Srila Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada is the mercy manifestation of Lord Chaitanya, Gaura Karuna Swarupaya, and is very dear to Radha and Krishna, Radha Krishna Prasad. Now for my respects to all of you, the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who like wish-fulfilling trees, I will fulfill all the desires of the living entity, and are very compassionate upon the fallen soul. So, now that happiness is that where happiness is. And so actually they're always looking for Krishna. Pleasure is the goal, but pleasure is found in one's loving relationship with Krishna, re-establishing this relationship. So the principal conversation in Srimad Bhagavatam is the conversation between Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. So Parikshit means inquirer, and when Parikshit Maharaj was in the womb with his mother Uttara, and Ashvatthama cast a Brahmastra weapon seeking to kill Parikshit Maharaj.
They can't hear you.
Can't hear me? Really?
You've got it attached correctly. It's just very, very soft, so they can't hear. Is it attached correctly?
Yeah, it's attached correctly. Okay, is that any better?
I don't know. Speak again.
How's that? Is that any better?
Speak
Okay,
again.
Haribol. Well, you can hear it, so it's fine now.
Yeah, it seems alright.
Seems better now,
But
yeah.
I've got it on full volume.
Okay. She says, yep, better now. Okay, all right. Goodness, sorry about that, everyone.
You know why?
Must not have been plugged in properly. Anyway. Krishna. My apologies. The technical problems. I'm not too technical. So anyway, so what I was speaking on was Parikshit Maharaj, and Ashvatthama had, at the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, he had attempted to wipe out all the descendants of the Pandavas, and Uttara, the wife of Abhimanyu, who'd been killed heinously, his wife Uttara was carrying Parikshit Maharaj in the womb, and so Ashvatthama released the Brahmastra weapon, attempting to kill the last descendant of the Pandavas in Uttara's womb. And Krishna protected Maharaj Parikshit within the womb. And so after Maharaj Parikshit was born, he always was seeking, oh, is this Krishna? Is this the person who saved me in the womb? So Parikshit means inquirer. So he was always inquiring into, is this the person who saved me in the womb? Is this Krishna? And with that little distraction about the audio, I can't quite remember why I started talking about Parikshit Maharaj and Shukadeva in the womb. Anyway, be that as it may. So we're at discussing chapter 2, text 11 of Bhagavad Gita, and which is Shri Bhagavan Nuvacha Asoshan Nan Vasochastvam Prajna Varams Chabasase Gata Sumsna Gata Sumscha Nanu Soshanti Panditaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, or Shri Bhagavan Nuvacha, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for that which is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. While speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. So this is the first instruction that Krishna is giving Arjuna after Arjuna has accepted him as his spiritual master, his spiritual teacher. And so, as mentioned last week, of course, the very first words Krishna is chastising Arjuna for his foolishness, is lamenting that which is not worthy of grief. And so last week we covered Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's purport, and or key points from his purport, and then Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on this verse. And so now we have a few points that Srila Baladev Vijayabhusana has in his commentary on this verse. And of course yesterday was Srila Baladev Vijayabhusana's disappearance day. So he says, as Arjuna stood silently, the Lord began deriding his intelligence. So quoting, O Arjuna, you are lamenting for the sons of Dhritarashtra, who are not even worth of lamentation. And you speak words supposedly from wise people, but you do not have even a drop of wisdom. Those who are wise do not lament for the gross body, nor for the subtle bodies, nor for the souls. So here he's taking it that Arjuna is not so much lamenting over Bhishma Dev and Drona, but over the sons of Dhritarashtra. So these sons of Dhritarashtra, headed by Duryodhana, are just essentially demoniac. They've, committed so many offences and wrongs against Maharaj Yudhisthira and his brothers, and against the people of the kingdom and of the neighbouring kingdoms. And as Srila Baladev Vijayabhusana says here, these sons of Dhritarashtra are not worthy of lamentation. So even from a materialistic point of view, if someone is doing wrong, then what is the lamentation if they are lost? And so when we were discussing chapter 1, according to the Artha Shastras, there's 5 reasons or 5 kinds of people who can be killed without there being a sinful reaction. So there's the one who attacks with deadly weapons, and so of course right here, you have the Dhritarashtra's, the sons of Dhritarashtra, headed by Duryodhana, attacking with deadly weapons. He tries to poison you, and so the sons of Dhritarashtra, again headed by Duryodhana, had tried to poison Bhima with a poison cake, and they poisoned him, chained him up, threw him into a river. Just out of sheer envy and animosity towards Bhima. Of course, Bhima had teased them quite a lot, and so they were, Duryodhana just really didn't like Bhima. So anyway, they tried to poison him. Then he tries to burn the house down, and so the Duryodhana and his cronies had attempted to burn down the house of Shalak and tried to burn the Pandavas alive, along with Draupadi and their mother Kunti. And the 4th kind of aggressor, who can be killed according to the Artha Shastras, is the one who tries to steal the wife. And this had happened twice, that Jayadratha had, while the Pandavas were away, Jayadratha had attempted to kidnap Draupadi and actually had taken her on his chariot and made off with her. And then, of course, in the gambling match, which had within it the whole seeds of this terrible, destructive war that came to its climax and conclusion at Kurukshetra, at the gambling match, Dushasana had attempted to disrobe Draupadi in front of the assembly, which was most sinful. And Draupadi had called out for justice and for the respectable elders such as Bhishma and Drona to stop this heinous activity, and they declined to do so. The fifth type of aggressor is actually, that might have been the fifth right there. So we had attack with deadly weapons, poison, try to burn the house down, kidnap the wife. Anyway, there's a fifth one. I forget what the fifth one is. But in any case, these Duryodhana and his brothers, the Dharashtas, were very sinful and were aggressors. And so their death was brought upon themselves by their own heinous sinful activities. So where is the lamentation in that? So here is like Ballad making, and you speak words supposedly from wise people, but you do not have even a drop of wisdom. So this is so for Arjuna, he's been up to this point thinking he's so wise and giving such good reasons as to why he shouldn't fight. And here Krishna is saying, you don't even have a drop of wisdom. So Arjuna is being humbled and put in his place by Krishna. So the destruction of gross bodies is inevitable due to their very nature. So we read last week text 28, where Krishna says, chapter 2, text 28, where Krishna says, all created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? So in other words, it's just the nature of the world, that the gross body its destruction is inevitable just by its very nature. The subtle body is indestructible until liberation. So this subtle body goes with us as we leave this body, and it in effect takes us to our next body. The subtle body is I don't know if you can hear the rain on the roof. It gets quite hard to hear when it rains around here, so hopefully you can hear me. So the subtle body, the shape of our desires and our attachments and our, transports us, takes us, our conception of life basically takes us to our next body. And it stays with us. It stays around the soul. Like, as Prabhupada always says, like the soul is like this, and then the subtle body, and then the gross body covering the subtle body. So the subtle body actually goes with us and to our next body, and it stays with us until liberation. So this is, of course, why when we take birth in the next body, the Paramatma, or the Super Soul, as Krishna says in chapter 15, text 15, from him comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So like in our next body, Krishna from within gives us the intelligence and reminds us of what our desires are. So you'll see little kids are like immediately interested in certain kinds of stuff and not interested in other kind of stuff. It comes with us in our subtle bodies. There should be no lamentation for the soul, for it is devoid of changes and is eternal. So the soul is indestructible, immutable, eternal, does not come into being, will not come into being. So the mistake of thinking worthy of lamentations, those things which are not really worthy of lamentation, is the quality of a fool. This is not suitable for you who are learned. So of course it's not that the devotee is hard-hearted and is not sympathetic to others when they have a loss, like they lose their relative or their spouse or their child. Of course the devotee feels great compassion for the living entities as they experience this loss. You know, this world is a place of misery, and it's not like the devotees of Krishna are hard-hearted and have no sympathy or empathy towards people as they experience their losses. And so even in a devotee's life, we may experience, great sadness and loss when someone we love leaves and, leaves their body behind. Or if even in their body, they're experiencing great suffering and pain. So the devotee is very empathetic. So it's not that Krishna is saying, oh, you should be indifferent and have a hard heart towards people as they experience suffering. So this is kind of the nature of a fanatic or someone who doesn't actually understand this wonderful teachings that we're receiving, where they become hard-hearted, and if somebody is upset or experiencing some hardship or experiencing some anxiety or depression, that the kind of attitude is, hey, get with it. You're not the body. What are you doing? So kind of like a fanatical approach. No, the devotee is full of compassion and love for the fallen souls, and wants to assist them and wants to give them transcendental knowledge so they'll become free of this suffering. So, I read it in a book by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and actually I was trying to find it the other day. I couldn't find it, but anyway, he explained that if one of our children dies, well, naturally we'll be unhappy, and so we should, we may be unhappy for a day or a couple of days, but then one should understand the actual situation, that they are not the body, they have not ceased to exist, they exist eternally, their subtle body still exists, that actually they were not my son. Who is son, who is father? Actually, we're all parts and parcels, spirit, soul. There's the nature, and therefore all actual brothers, and related in that sense, not this false relationship of parent or child or sibling or lover or whatever it may be. So understanding our real relationship with others and having actual love for them. And of course it's natural that in this world, we have relationships with people, and so we know them better than other people, and so we have loving feelings and tenderness and care for others. So this is not, it's not like, oh, we should be hard-hearted and not have loving relationships with others. But we should try to spiritualize these relationships, not see people as someone for me to enjoy, but someone that these are people who exist to provide me with things that I want. Perhaps the husband's looking at the wife thinking, oh, she's for my sexual enjoyment, or she's for satisfying my tongue with nice, and belly with nice dishes. Or the wife is looking at the husband and thinking, oh, this person exists to satisfy my desire to have my different questions answered, to what should I do, or to provide me with income and take care of my material needs, fix my car when it breaks down, or whatever it may be. So in other words, this kind of viewing relationships with me at the center, and they exist for my happiness and pleasure. So know that the devotees are full of love for others, and see them as our relatives, and in a mood of serving others, seeing them as parts and parcels of Krishna. And my function is to try and help others, to help them come to love Krishna. So it's not that Krishna is telling Arjuna to be hard-hearted, but he's telling him, basically, get with the program, Arjuna. You have your duty to perform. Sometimes duty is unpleasant. As Krishna goes on to explain in subsequent verses, that we should be equal in happiness and distress. Sukha dukkha daha, be equal in happiness and distress. And so this is very important to understand. This wonderful philosophy and teachings of Krishna can be so much misinterpreted and mistaken by someone who doesn't actually understand it properly. And this is why in my classes in Healing Chant 108, emphasizing, what is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita? So while it's a philosophical treatise, and yes, there's lots of knowledge about the material world and the spiritual world and different processes to achieve self-realization, and different types of dharma described, and so on and so forth. So much information provided by Krishna. But the whole conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is not about knowledge or knowing stuff. It's about love. It's about Krishna's love for Arjuna and all of the living beings. And Krishna's essentially almost pleading with us to love him, to man manabhava mad bhakta. Just think of me. Just fix your mind upon me. Meditate upon me. Offer your worship to me. And just love me. And you are my beloved. And then to surrender to him in love. It's not like an intellectual thing. I intellectually understand that you're Krishna, and Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore I should be a devotee, and we're like doing what we think is the right thing out of some kind of intellectual understanding or out of a sense of duty or obligation. No, Krishna wants our love. And so if we actually love Krishna, come to the platform of having pure love for Krishna, and automatically comes with that love for others, then of course we'll understand this wonderful work of Bhagavad Gita and apply it to our lives. Another example of people misunderstanding the teachings of Bhagavad Gita is like, there's a verse where Krishna basically says that even if a devotee has engages in terrible activities, still they're loved by him or dear to him. I forget the actual words, but this is sometimes misinterpreted and used by people to actually abuse others. Like to sin on the strength of the holy name, to think that, I can commit sin, and but I'm a devotee, so it's okay. And so actually, to the great misfortune of many of the people within the ISKCON society after Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada left this world, some of the leaders in that organization, falsely claiming to be acharyas, are actually pedophiles, and homosexuals and supposedly sannyasis, but exploiting women. And and their idea was, and they would even say, hey, I'm a devotee, and Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, if even if a devotee commits abominable activities, it's okay. But of course, this is a complete misunderstanding of what Krishna is saying. Of course, Krishna is speaking to Arjuna. Arjuna is about to engage in something absolutely abominable, something terrible. Millions of people are going to die. So this is a terrible thing. So, but if one is doing it for Krishna, out of love for Krishna, and under the direct instruction of Krishna, well then of course, this is not an issue, right? But so we shouldn't misunderstand what Krishna is saying and have misinterpretations. So this kind of misunderstanding is like what's known as an anatha, an unwanted thing, an unwanted covering of the heart and mind, to be an illusion and to misunderstand this actual loving philosophy of devotional service to Krishna. Of course, devotee, we call it devotional service. This is bhakti, right? It's all about devotion, and it's not devotion out of obligation or duty or fear. In fact, Krishna tells us, do not fear. Masuchaha, do not fear. So, Srila Madhvaracharya makes some couple of points in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita. So he says, those who are illuminated are factually illuminated by knowledge due to realization. Those who are illuminated are factually illuminated by knowledge due to realization. So this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is not something intellectual. Of course, we have to apply our mind and our intelligence to try and understand what Krishna is saying. But actually, transcendental knowledge, or jnana, or Rajavidya, the king of knowledge that Krishna gives in chapter 9, it's not intellectual knowledge. It's knowledge that is actually performed. In other words, it's an active kind of knowledge. It's something that's realized and acted upon. So actually in the verse, chapter 9, text 2, Rajavidya Rajaguyam Pavitra Mihamutaman Pratyaksha Bhagamam Damyam Susukam Katumavyoyam. So this, the Susukam Katumavyoyam means that this knowledge is joy, this Rajavidya Rajaguyam, so this king of knowledge, the king of secrets, is something that is actually Susukam Katumavyoyam, something that is joyfully performed. It's joyful, it's with love and happiness that we perform this king of knowledge. So what does it mean to perform knowledge? Like, oh, that's kind of an unusual concept, but it's actually meaning, it's realized knowledge, it's practical knowledge, it's wisdom, it's something that actually becomes a part of you. It's not some intellectual knowledge that like you go to school, you learn all these kinds of facts, you learn facts and figures and so on, and then as soon as you get out of school, you never use it again and you forget it, right? But this transcendental knowledge is something that's actually realized. It becomes a part of you. It's part of your actual identity as spirit, soul, servant of Krishna. And we become illuminated. We become enlightened. Right? So this is like illuminated or enlightenment. It's always about light, like we're in the darkness of ignorance or ajnana, no knowledge. So we're in ignorance and in darkness. like in a dark room when with no lights on, you're tripping all over the place, So we become illuminated or enlightened, so we can actually see things as they are. We can see myself, we can see others, we can see Krishna, and we can understand the relationships. This is known as sambandha, the relationships between ourselves and others and Krishna and this material world. We become enlightened and able to see things as they are. They are prajna, or wise and knowledgeable. So when Krishna says here, prajna vedam strabhasase, and so this means prajna vedan means learned talks, and cha, of course, is also bhasyase, is speaking. So Krishna was telling Arjuna, hey, you're speaking learned words, right? So, but Srila Madhvaracharya here is making the point that prajna means wise or knowledgeable, and vada means words, but avada is the opposite. So there's a a in front of it. And in Sanskrit, there's a thing called sandhi, and this is when words are combined, they become joined, or which is called sandhi. And so sometimes it's not quite clear. So like if a word ends in a short a, and the next word starts in a short a, so it gets combined in the Sanskrit grammar by what's known as sandhi, and then it becomes a long a. So a and a. So a is twice as long as a. And so when these get combined, there's also some words that have a long a anyway. And so when these words are combined, it's always not quite clear whether it's a word ending with a long a and then the next word is a short a, or whether it's just two short a's. And anyway, so sorry, forgive me for going on here about Sanskrit grammar. I actually know very little about Sanskrit grammar, but the little bit I do know is a little bit about this sandhi. So anyway, the point is that this oftentimes in the conversations between Radha and Krishna, there'll be all these word plays, and that's contained within the Sanskrit because of this process of sandhi. So anyway, here in these words, prajna vada, there's a long a, and that long a can mean avada, which means, in other words, it's not words of wisdom. So anyway, so he's saying that avada means that they who are opposed to the Vedic injunctions. So he makes the point, whatever the wise and knowledgeable proclaim is always in conjunction with the Vedic injunctions. Whatever is contrary to the Vedic injunctions on any level of consciousness is not worthy of contemplation. So this is quite like profound, right, and deep and serious. Srila Madhvaracharya here is saying, that if something is not in harmony with the Vedic conclusion, in other words, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the Vedas or in a scripture, but it needs to be in harmony with it. And if it's not in harmony with it, if it's contrary to it, then it's not worthy of contemplating. It's not worthy of thinking about. So another Vaishnava commentator is Keshava Kashmiri, and he's in the Kumara Vaishnava Sampradaya, and so a medieval commentator. But he makes some quite nice points here. And so he speaks about, gives a description of the Supreme Lord Krishna, and he ends it with, what grief and delusion can exist one understands this truth of who Krishna is. So he says, encompassing all that exists, internal and external, is the Supreme Lord Krishna. Everything existing is verily manifested from him. One who is peaceful and tranquil should propitiate and worship under all circumstances. Under the control of the Supreme Lord Krishna, the whole cosmic manifestation, composed of demigods, demons, and humans, and various variegated species, is pulsating. O demigods, what the earth says is true. The Creator and all living species are fragments of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Whatever is present in totality is the Supreme Lord Krishna, the undecayable one, without a second and nothing else. Everything visible and invisible is created from the Supreme Lord Krishna. The Supreme Ultimate Truth is He, and He alone. What grief and delusion can exist when one understands this truth? So if we understand the truth of Krishna, then how can there be lamentation and illusion? Here Lord Krishna responds to Arjuna's statement in chapter 1, verse 32, of what use is kingdom, fabulous wealth, enjoyments, or even living? It is only Arjuna's delusion that he grieves, thinking that without relatives there is no purpose of ruling the kingdom or in living. So it's only because he's deluded that he's not understanding the situation. Moreover, Arjuna talks like one learned, saying that sin would be incurred, but then disregarding the fact that Duryodhana and his brothers are heinous offenders. So I spoke about some of their heinous offences that they had committed, and how, according to Arthashastra, such aggressors can be slain or killed. So in this way, Lord Krishna shows that foolishness and scholarship are illogical and a dichotomy, being contradictory. Hence Arjuna's attempt at scholarship has no value. So Arjuna's been, speaking like a learned man and acting like a scholar, but actually it all has no value, zero value. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada would often speak about the material scientists and how foolish they were. Actually, an example that Prabhupada likes, he likes to talk about Professor Fool with his wife Maggie lying dead on the floor. So Prabhupada had given a number of lectures like this. So anyway, but the point here is, Krishna is pointing out that Arjuna's acting like a scholar is just foolishness. And why? Because those with spiritual intelligence do not grieve for the dead or the living. The root word of pandita, meaning learned, is panda, which means power of discriminative intellect. Those who possess such discrimination are considered wise. The wise never lament for the physical body. So I had been, mentioned a couple of times now, there's some examples of lamentation in the Bhagavatam and also Chaitanya Bhagavat. So famous discourses or conversations that stick out, at least in my mind, of lamentation. Of course, the conversation between Arjuna and Krishna is like one of the most famous. But some other examples are on the death of Hiranyaksha. Hiranyakashipu spoke to his mother and the widow of Hiranyaksha, his brother, and to his nephews, the sons of Hiranyaksha. And so Hiranyakashipu directly spoke some really amazing ideas. And actually I've been speaking on these in my Yoga Kirtan Hawaii classes, and I'll be speaking on another verse of Hiranyakashipu's tomorrow night, and in my experience meditation evening at 7 p.m. Hawaii time tomorrow. And then he gives a second story expands upon that. And actually, there's two stories within it, but one is a story of Yamaraja as a small boy. A third conversation is Citraketu and his wives speaking to their dead son, or rather their dead son speaking to them. And then the story of Srivasa's son who died during a wonderful kirtan. So I've said a couple of times I'm going to speak on these. So I'm just going to, I've only got time to read it. So I'll just read a few verses. And so this is in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 2, and starting at text 27. So this is Hiranyakashipu speaking. And he says, in this regard, an example is given from an old history. This involves a discourse between Yamaraja and the friends of a dead person. Please hear it attentively. In the state known as Usanara, there was a celebrated king named Suyagna. When the king was killed in battle by his enemies, his kinsmen sat down around the dead body and began to lament the death of their friend. The time was appropriate for the body to be burned, but the queens, not allowing it to be taken away, continued lamenting for the dead body, which they kept on their laps. In the meantime, the sun completed its movements for setting in the west. While the queens were lamenting for the dead body of the king, their loud cries were heard even from the abode of Yamaraja. Assuming the body of a boy, Yamaraja personally approached the relatives of the dead body and advised them as follows. Sri Yamaraja said, "Alas, how amazing it is! These persons, who are older than me, have full experience that hundreds and thousands of living entities have taken birth and died. Thus, they should understand that they also are apt to die, yet still they are bewildered. The conditioned soul comes from an unknown place and returns after death to that same unknown place. There is no exceptions to this rule, which is conducted by material nature. Knowing this, why do they uselessly lament?" It is wonderful that these elderly women do not have a higher sense of life than we do. Indeed, we are most fortunate, for although we are children and have been left to struggle in material life, unprotected by father and mother, and although we are very weak, we have not been vanquished or eaten by ferocious animals. Thus we have a firm belief that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has given us protection even in the womb of the mother, will protect us everywhere. So in our class in Healing Chant 108, we're discussing chapter 18, text 66, where Krishna says, "Mamikam saranam braja," so sarana, just surrender unto me. So saranam is surrender, and sharana is like, there's 6 processes of self-surrender, which are known as sharana gati, and one of these is to accept Krishna as my soul protector. Krishna is my maintainer, and Krishna is my soul protector. And so here Yamaraja is speaking of this idea. So anyway, so we'll finish it there, and you can perhaps look forward, or actually you can look this up in Srimad Bhagavatam on your own, and maybe I'll put it into my Facebook account, because this is just a really nice story of lamentation. The queens, they're lamenting the death of their husband. Their lamentations are so loud that they're even heard by Yamaraja, who appears to console them and enlighten them with transcendental knowledge, just as Krishna is enlightening Arjuna. So this is the greatest gift the devotees of Krishna can give to the people of this world, the actual gift of transcendental knowledge. So anyway, so thank you very much. Sorry about the poor volume at the start. I've got to get it together so we don't have that problem again. And please join us tomorrow night if you like at Yoga Kirtan Hawaii at 7 p.m. Facebook Live for our Experience Meditation class. And then Healing Chant 108 on Friday evening at 7:30 p.m. where we'll be continuing our discussion of Sharana, or surrender to Krishna, and the 6 processes of self-surrender of Sharanagati. Okay, thank you very much. And actually next week we'll move on from text 11, we'll move on to text 12, which is a very nice and important voice in Bhagavad Gita. Haribol, namaste. Jagadish Hari. Jai Jagadish Hari.
Jai Lord Vishnu, Haribo.
Krishna.
Krishna, Haribo.